Hey church, I just got back from Ethiopia and I just wanted to share some thoughts with you while it's still fresh in my mind, because some of you guys have given faithfully to the ministry out there and I'm realizing I'm the only one that gets to see the results. And so I want to just kind of update you on what I got to experience over the last week. One of the highlights was I got to do a wedding out there for an amazing woman named Sige. And she's a girl who was sold to a witch doctor when she was 6, and then just repeatedly pimped out and raped till she was around 12, which many of us have kids in that age group, and it's like, we can't even imagine it. Then at 12, she runs away, just trying to survive, and there's nowhere left for her to go except the red light district, where again, she's having to be with these men for like $1 each, like 5 times a night. The sheer horror of everything she's gone through. And then her ministry out there was able to build relationship with her, pull her out of there, educate her, give her a place to stay. And now she's married. I got to marry her and this guy named Melis, who's a welder, godly man. And to see her, just like the joy, the beauty, that picture of redemption. I just don't know that I've seen such an extreme before. And as I was getting ready to do the wedding, my daughter Mercy was with me, and she goes, "Dad, this reminds me of Isaiah 62. I just nodded my head and pretended I knew what Isaiah 62 was. But then she began to quote it, and it was so beautiful. It says this: "The nations shall see your righteousness, and all the kings your glory, and you shall be called by a new name that the mouth of the Lord will give. You shall be a crown of beauty in the hand of the Lord, and a royal diadem in the hand of your God. You shall no more be termed forsaken, and your land shall no more be termed desolate. But you shall be called, my delight is in her, and your land married, for the Lord delights in you, and your land shall be married. For as a young woman marries a young for as a young man marries a young woman, so shall your sons marry you. And as the bridegroom rejoices over the bride, so shall your God rejoice over you." I ended up teaching that passage at that wedding because I just thought, here was this person who was abandoned, forsaken, desolate, and God comes into her life and says, "No, I delight in you. You are beautiful." In fact, she's the girl that took us through the red light district last time, and just watching her go from woman to woman, sharing the gospel with them, begging them to come out of that lifestyle. Amazing. So that was just a crazy honor. And if you remember, 5 years ago on my first trip there, Lisa and I went out there and we actually purchased some land, 2 plots of land. One is for a women's home. So currently we have many women like Sige, who we've pulled out of the red light district, educated them, taught them some trades. They're hairdressers now, they're in the medical field, they're teachers. Beautiful thing. And so we are building this facility that is going to house 100 of them at a time, as well as their children, as well as have a school. And it's going to be done in October. And what we're doing is we're raising money because one of the things we found out is that there are so many buildings that ministries have started out there that sit empty now because they didn't think of ongoing cost. And so what we're doing is building up 9 stories so that those 6, 7 floors can be rented out, leased out, because it's in the city, so it's kind of landlocked. And that residual income is actually going to take care of the women's home, at least 80%. So we don't have to think about just raising more funds all the time. We also, the other piece of land we purchased 5 years ago is now an operating medical clinic, where for the last couple years we've had between 130 to 150 kids every day. Okay, new patients coming in. And these are kids that are like skin and bones. Many of them would have died. And yet over the last couple of years, this thing has been cranking. And it's brought so much life to this community, just a place where they can go and be healed, because some of the simplest illnesses are killing them. And so now we have pediatricians, we have full-fledged doctors over there giving their time and serving, and we're able to employ a bunch of people out there. But with the sustainability, this is really exciting. We decided to build another medical clinic in a different area. And with this one, we actually, before we built the clinic, we started a dairy farm. And I know that's a foreign thought for many of us, but so we've got like 20 of these milk cows, and the amount of milk it's producing, the amount of money we can make off of that. We started a milk store in town where people come as like a coffee shop drinking milk. And we've got women that, have come out of the red light district. They're running the milk store. We've got, women milking cows, doing all sorts of things. Not only that, but, okay, I don't mean to be too graphic, but as I'm there watching them milk the cows, and I was so tempted to try, but it's just kind of gross. The cows are peeing everywhere, and it's all going down this drain, and it all goes down this funnel into this giant vat where they put all of the cow dung, and somehow it produces this biogas, methane, that they can actually bottle and sell, and actually the energy from that will run the medical clinic. I mean, it's just this crazy infrastructure where the milk they sell, the gas they sell, all of their natural resources keep the medical clinic going. I mean, it's enough to pay for it. So we're going to double the amount of cows and the produce and everything else. We're going to start a farm out there. But all of this is for sustainable ministry. Probably the saddest thing I saw is currently there are about 2 million people. I get different estimates between 1.4 and 2.9. So let's just say 2 million people that, because of the warring that's going on, these two major tribes, you've got about 2 million people just wandering from place to place. And they'll set up these camps where, because they're running for their lives, but then they'll set up these camps, and once they get these are just sticks and, banana leaves and stuff like that to just get some shelter, but there's no resources. Imagine 50,000 people. Like the camp I went to had 50,000 people, and they're going into an impoverished village, and you add 50,000 people to it, no food, no aid. And so we were able to buy tarps to cover, these little temporary shelters, able to buy them these little stoves for $5 each so they can cook and then grain. But the problem is it's so fluid. Like they can get kicked out of that land. And so then you got to go to another place. That's why we gave them the tarp and a portable stove. Figure they could take that anywhere, and we're trying to feed them. And it's only cost about 20 cents a day. 20 cents to feed someone for the day. And the saddest thing I saw was right when I got there, there was this woman who was going nuts. Like no one could console her. And then I looked like 10 feet away was her, like, I don't know, I'm guessing 5-7-year-old son, just skin and bones and lying there lifeless. And this woman is just going crazy, just screaming like, I've kept him alive, all these years, and just for it to end like that. I mean, it made me think of Proverbs, I think it's 21, 12 or 13, where it says, if you ignore that cry, God's going to ignore yours. And I think of Isaiah 58, it's like when we pour ourselves out for people like that, that's when we cry out to God, and he says, here I am. And I just kept thinking, I could have done something. Man, I wish we'd been here sooner. I wish there was a clinic here. I mean, there's so many thoughts. And I was telling Mercy, like, what makes me sick is the thought that decisions I make determine how many of these people live. Like, the sacrifices I make determine whether these souls live on here on earth. I mean, it's like those gladiator movies where, it's like, okay, live or die. And that's in my hands, like for thousands of people. And it's just an overwhelming thought. And you can look at the numbers and go, oh, but there's 2 million. You're just talking about a camp of 50,000. Well, that's what I saw. So that's what I'm accountable for. And I just thought, okay, I can kind of give my money or whatever, or I can really push this thing and talk to the church and hopefully give you a vision to say, no, let's get some money and provide for these people, keep them alive, because the guys that are distributing the food are actually pastors. They're pastors from the last time I went over there, and with the warring, we took pastors from both sides and preached to them. And they ended up getting on their faces, washing each other's feet. People who have killed people from their own tribe, they're washing each other's feet and locking arms and going, we're going to do something. These are the guys that now we've hired to distribute the food as they share the good news of Jesus Christ and how he can redeem, and you can become this beautiful, delightful creature in the sight of God. And the thought that we have this opportunity, man, I just want you guys each in your churches to just pray about it and say, God, what can I sacrifice? What can I give? Because I'm telling you, I've seen some great things. It's not a waste of money. I've seen where it goes, and we'll continue to give you updates. But you guys, we have an amazing opportunity that we can bring life into these people. And just remember that picture of Sige in your mind, of just this beautiful, beautiful bride. We're not doing this to earn anything. We're doing this because we are beside ourselves with what God has given us. And it's a joy if we could be his hands, his feet, and just do something for these people.